Hi guys! May is Mental Health Awareness Month and Asian American Heritage Month, and we made this little video. Hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Justin Kwan. I am a fourth generation Japanese and Chinese American.
My name is Jeff Yonamura. I'm the proud father of 3 great boys.
My name is Erin Jackness. I am a Japanese American artist.
My name is Matthew Shima. I'm an associate marriage and family therapist.
Hi, I'm Alan Nishio. I'm retired academic and who's been involved in the Little Tokyo community for 50 years now. And I'm a person who believes very importantly that the future of our community is tied to how we deal with issues of mental and physical health.
Today has been a mixed day. I think that being in the middle of a depressive episode right now that has lasted a long time, each day is a little bit different. So there's days where I struggle, like today, and there's days where I thrive and things feel wonderful. But today has been kind of tough.
I wouldn't consider myself to have maybe like a major mental health issue or like anxiety disorder, but that doesn't mean I still don't experience like everyday anxieties or stresses. One like major thing that comes to mind is being gay, which is kind of like, sounds kind of silly, but I think when I look back at like the source of my anxieties, that's kind of where it stems from. For instance, like in the workplace, I'm a civil engineer, so civil engineering is tends to be like heterosexual, white, male-dominated industry. And so like navigating that it does present like everyday anxieties and just like, you know, do I want to be like too gay at work, or like do I want, like, is my gay showing, or that kind of stuff.
So I suffered from anxiety and depression probably about 10 or 15 years ago. And all 3 of my sons in one way or another have been affected by mental health issues.
I think the biggest thing that I've learned is to incorporate art into my life and to use that as a vehicle, really, to feel better and to promote self-care for myself.
One major thing I do is I like to drive, which sounds weird, but driving with like my music playing just by myself, it's almost like my own like meditation time. Other than that, like exercising, running, and like art.
So this is what I do. It's a mandala. It's all freehand with watercolor and fine art markers. And I started, I guess, 5 years ago, really just doodling in the middle of a depression as a way to kind of calm my mind when it got really turbulent inside. I found that drawing and painting was a way that I could kind of give myself that outlet.
So I've recently kind of been getting into like watercolor, and it's like literally soothing to just do it. So that it's pretty much like therapy, yeah.
I was working in retail management, and the owner of the company met with me and suggested that I see a therapist. He had a friend who was a therapist, and so he is actually still the person that I go to every week.
I would say my boyfriend, John, he lives with anxiety disorder.
My wife was very supportive for me when I was going through some difficult times. So, and she continues to be that for our entire family. She's like the glue of the family.
It made a world of difference. You know, I was too scared, I think, to say that I needed help. And I didn't know what that help looked like. And so to have someone older who knew what they were talking about and knew how to navigate the healthcare system, I think that made all the difference. And because of my trust in that person, I was able to really open myself to that possibility of getting help.
I think you could, like I said, I was pretty privileged for most of my life to not experience any kind of mental health disorder. But kind of, I guess, experiencing it secondhand through him has definitely opened my eyes to the nuances of anxiety disorder and just mental health disorder in general.
I was uninformed, or not as informed as I could have been growing up on mental health. And I experienced my first depressive episode when I was in my mid-20s. And at that point, I didn't know what was happening. And I didn't have easy access to care necessarily. I think had I been a little more informed on the types of mental illness and what the symptoms were, that I could have maybe gotten help sooner.
I think what has changed since high school and even college would be my attitude towards mental health and maybe my awareness of mental health in general and my own mental health. Who I was in high school and college, I guess was more a little closed-minded, even judgmental, and especially if someone who hasn't experienced it firsthand, it's something you don't understand. But I think, as growing older, especially with Changing Tides crew, really opens your eyes to the seriousness of mental health.
Therapy is only for rich white people. I think that's maybe, I don't know if that's really an image, but it's definitely not true. Because I think it kind of started that way, and it's been over the past, I don't know how many years, probably since the 60s or so, that's been changing. But that...
I wish people would stop referring to people with mental health issues as crazy. I think we've come a long way in understanding it, and it is an intangible sort of health, and I think that makes it that much more challenging to better understand it.
From my work at the university and also at the Little Tokyo Service Center, what we find is there still is a stigma associated with seeking help.
I think that therapy is some sort of scary thing where somebody's gonna try to change me or fix me or somehow make me not who I am. I think that could be scary, and I think that that's not true, but I've heard that being expressed.
For Asian Americans, we're, at least for me, speaking from my own experience, I grew up in an environment where we don't talk about mental health. It's something that people have, that I know of, that have mental health issues, but we don't discuss it. Even when I've tried asking pretty direct questions to family, it's, I think, something that's misunderstood a lot, and there's a stigma of shame around it, that to have a mental illness is shameful. I think that's been really hard to kind of break through that, and I think it's a generational issue in some ways. But as I've gotten older, I've found that talking about it really helps.
Well, in particular, being of Japanese background, I grew up with the idea, as did many in my generation, with the idea of gaman, which loosely translated means hang in there. And so growing up in that, my parents always used to tell me gaman, to hang in there. And that's not always the best advice when you're dealing with mental health issues.
At the counseling center at Long Beach, but also throughout most counseling centers, from other colleagues that I mentioned, Asian Americans tend to use the counseling center less than other ethnic groups. But those Asian Americans who have come in for service typically have more severe mental issues they're dealing with than their peers. And so that's understandable when you understand that within the cultural context, you're supposed to fit in. That's kind of a natural process. And so you just assume that if you don't fit in, it must be me. And so you don't want to see, and if I have to admit that I've got a problem, that's a problem kind of thing. But when you see people coming into the counseling center, Asian Americans and particularly Asian immigrants, they tend to have more severe issues that they deal with, that because they were not able to kind of deal with those in earlier fashion and in ways that could be handled without as much kind of professional assistance that is necessary.
I think changing tides is important because it's raising awareness, providing a space for people to talk about stuff that we don't always talk about, and so that's very important.
I think Changing Tides is an amazing organization. It's exactly what we need, I think, right now at this time in our community. The Japanese American community, Asian American community, and just society at large. I think mental health has become more of a topic at the forefront of our conversations, and I think that's really important.
What I love about Changing Tides is it's young people who speak the language that people can relate to, that don't put it in, quote, clinical terms or whatever, but say, hey, this is me, this is what I've had to deal with. Most of us have had to deal with different issues, and the ability to deal with them helps define who we are. And so it's nice to see people who feel comfortable talking about these issues and are part of the support system, and also providing, by the work that they're doing, providing the kind of the solutions to the issue of, because to me, one of the real solutions to dealing with this is, again, building networks and associations and relationships that are healthy and productive.
It is part of a hopefully larger movement to destigmatize mental health issues. And hardly a day goes by where you don't hear something in the newspaper or on TV or on social media about people struggling with mental health. And so being part of the Asian community, I feel like it's my responsibility to help with our demographic.
Why it's so important to me is because I think because of my identity as a multi-ethnic Asian American and Japanese American, I think that the way that they're really focusing on youth and Asian Americans, I think that our identities play so much a big role in how we see ourselves and how we interact with the world around us.
Mental health is a process.
Mental health is.
Mental health is.
Mental health is.
To me, mental health is a journey.
Mental health is knowing yourself.
Mental health is a part of me, and it's something I'm proud of.
Possible.
Universal.
What keeps me going every single day.
Mental health is an open, honest conversation.
Mental health is an ongoing struggle that we all face, and how we deal with it defines who we ultimately become as people.
Hey you, we just want you to know that you are loved.
You matter.
You're beautiful.
You're pretty cool.
And you're perfectly you.
And
we're changing tides.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching our video. If you ever feel as though you might need any help, please refer to thechangingtides.org for any resources that you might need.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.